Hi folks, BrickSidious here, back with another LEGO Star Wars video. I finally have a new set to discuss with you. So on the left, it needs no introduction. It's been making the rounds on social media. The Mandalorian N-1 starfighter as depicted in the last season of Mando, or was it Book of Boba Fett, and then the upcoming feature-length movie. This is 75442. Contains about 1,800 pieces for $250. As you would notice, the piece count, it's one of the smallest UCS sets, and the price per piece is one of the worst. Some might say that this is due to the extra expense of these large chrome bricks in the front. I'm not sure how accurate that is, given that I heard some comments online that the other Chinese alternate brick makers, they make chrome bricks and they charge a much lower price, of course. So, believe what you will. And then kind of comparing that to the first Naboo UCS starfighter from episode 1. I don't know if you can even call this UCS. Of course, it comes with a plaque and stuff, but this was one of the first sets, from 2002. It only had 187 pieces and retailed for $40 at the time. Yeah, maybe that's like $150 now in today's dollars, but still, if you are lucky enough to have a sealed box of one of these, it's probably worth $2,000 easy. So yeah, this one has chrome bricks as well, fewer of them, but it's just, the funny thing is the size of it, right? I don't know if this is minifigure scale. It's probably pretty close. I mean, you look at the plaque and it's saying like the ship is 11 meters long, so a little smaller than an X-Wing. And, no interior or anything like that. And it's funny because, let me show you here. I have the play scale Naboo starfighter. I forget the set number of this guy, but this is the one, that comes with like some accessories like a stairs and whatnot, like stuff that you would find in a Naboo hangar. But it's roughly the same size, and even the wings are longer. So, one's UCS, one's not. Of course, this one doesn't have chrome, but it does have Anakin minifigure, so make of that what you will. Let me put this down. But going back to the Mandalorian version, like the curves, the look of it is quite impressive. I think, if it's definitely one of the prettier UCS ships in recent memory, and I like how the nose with the guns here and the engine intake and stuff. It has a very like World War II fighter pilot feel to it, especially that it's so like this was like a restored beaten up ship. Peli Motto fixed it up for Mando and everything, and then a lot of detail. Maybe it's unnecessary level of detail, but for the thrusters, and they are not symmetric. Each side has a few different details, and I was hoping when word that this would be the 2026 UCS set, I was hoping the whole thing would be chrome, but Lego kind of cheaped out, of course, and has the customary complaints about the stickers in part of the fuselage. I guess this is supposed to be UCS scale. I'll come back to that in a minute because part of it doesn't make sense, but anyway, and then the tail, like here, for the Naboo yellow fighter, it only has 2 engines, but this one has like a third one, under the cockpit. So I don't know, maybe that's a custom mod from Peli, and it makes the ship go faster or something. But yeah, so it has a kind of studless decorated underside, which is nice, and it fits. You can orient it in the north, south, east, west directions on the UCS stand, so that's nice. You can set it up as you like. The one thing is, like, just with the tail, this is going to be a display challenge. Like I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put this thing, but because especially like when you look at it, I guess end to end, maybe 20 inches, yeah, almost 2 feet, I would say, which is like the size of the UCS Razor Crest, if you remember that one from a few years ago. And yeah, some kind of other detailing here, like a grill, I guess, and maybe this is some more engine machinery. I mean, it reminds me of the UCS Y-wing. If you remember, like, you know, the Y-wing as a ship has a ton of greebling. It's kind of like it's meant to be a little hacky, like industrial, with all these hoses and widgets and stuff sticking out. Like, I thought the UCS Y-wing, the new one, well, both are good, but especially the remake are the details like spot on and really cool. I think this one, like, a trend I've felt in the recent UCS is the designers are just trying a little too hard, you know, to like pack in a ludicrous amount of detail. I mean, it's definitely nice eye candy and impressive, like some of the building techniques they use to get through some of these like design challenges or space constraints, shape constraints, etc. Like it's very impressive from an engineering and an artistic point of view, no doubt. But you know, this is a display model / toy. Like they don't have to go overboard, I think. So especially if that adds to the cost, like, you know, if the designers are spending 30% more time, you know, on a set than they used to, you know, that's going to ultimately get billed to us, the consumer. So, but anyway, let me go discuss the issue of scale now, because it's kind of funny. So, like I mentioned, the yellow original Naboo starfighter, 11 meters, right? So this one is saying that. Oh, okay. So this one is also 11 meters. Yeah. So yeah, exactly the same ship. And I'm assuming it's minifig scale, you know, if the Mando's in the cockpit like that. But so here's the UCS Razor Crest. I didn't want to take it off my display stand and, you know, bring it over here. It's so big. But look at here, the Razor Crest is saying that it's 24 meters, and that is supposedly a UCS scale set. Sorry, a minifig scale UCS set as well. So the Razor Crest is supposed to be double the length of the Mandalorian starfighter if we have consistent minifig scale. But like I mentioned, the Razor Crest UCS set is about the length of the Mando starfighter. So somebody's not getting the math right here. Or so what I feel is like probably this ship is upscaled, like kind of like the Snowspeeder or the X-Wing, where it's if you were to put a figure in the cockpit, they would be bigger than a minifigure. But Lego just, you know, wants to have a minifigure in here, and yeah, maybe not have such a big windscreen and kind of like the empty big chair like the X-Wing has. I don't know, but the scale. The scale of this guy just does not agree with the Razor Crest UCS. So anyway, and it's kind of funny how the sizing of the spec sheets of the UCS plaques of these ships change over time. Like I mentioned, actually I was surprised that there was a consistent 11 meters for these two ships. Like if you have a big UCS collection, you want to take a look at your TIE interceptors or your X-Wings. The original versus the remakes, the plaques say different numbers for how big the ships are. So that's kind of funny. So one of them's wrong, right, compared to canon, or maybe they're both wrong. I'm not sure kind of what led to that with Lego, but anyway. Is anything more I want to say for this fella? Yeah, maybe lastly, it's also with the UCS plaque. It says the crew is a pilot, an astromech droid, and Grogu. So where does an astromech droid did not come with this set? So I'm assuming it would go in Grogu's, you know, seat here, because that's where R2 is. You know, that's where the astromech lives on these Naboo starfighters. But so it's understandable that the ship was modified so Grogu could sit there instead of an astromech. So, but is an astromech part of the crew or not? You know, we didn't get one in the set. And if they are, where are they? You know, are they like integrated into the engine or something? So that's a little confusing. But anyway, yeah, overall, like I like the look. Yeah, the scale's a little weird. Like if you were to put this next to the Razor Crest, this would look too big, or the Razor Crest would look too small. So that would kind of cheapen it a little if you display your UCS sets by theme. But anyway, yeah, just kind of maybe a minor nit of a fan. Hey folks, just a quick correction to some of the discussion in this video about the scale of these two UCS sets. So I actually did some Googling, and it turns out that the Razor Crest scale is 24 meters is the actual Canon ship, and the set is 72 centimeters long, so the scale is 33:1, and that's roughly minifig scale. Of course, I think they've made the interior smaller than the actual Razor Crest, just for practical purposes. A full minifig scale Razor Crest would be big, and probably $800. So, and then the N-1 starfighter, it's supposed to be 11 meters long in Canon, and the set is 67 centimeters. So that's 16:1 ratio. So it's roughly half. The scale is half as compressed. So you can imagine the Mando figure. You should only be able to see his head in this cockpit area, and then the rest of his body is like under the windscreen, under this metal part here that Lego didn't make a full recessed cavity where a scale figure could go in. But that's what I think. Talking with some other Lego folks online, it seems like if this is the proportional scale in Canon, they made the cockpit too small, and probably again, Lego probably did that to cut some corners or just make the design easier. Like if you look at the Snow Speeder or X-Wing, those are roughly the similar scale. Like the X-Wing is meant to be 13 meters long, and there you have a more developed chair, and cockpit and controls for the pilot, and there it's totally obvious that it's bigger than minifig scale. Here, like I've seen some videos online that creators are putting Mando in like I did here, and just saying, oh yeah, it's for minifigs. And it's funny, like Mando barely fits because the windscreen slope is so low, so you really have to make him like kind of like almost laying down in there. But whereas like in the show, I think you just see his head popping out here. So yeah, kind of nerdy, like probably I dove too deeply into scale, more than I wanted to, but just to set the record straight. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time, and may the force be with you.